So, first and foremost, I was glad when they said to me, let us go up to the house of the Lord. Our feet are standing within your gates, O Jerusalem. So first thing, house of the Lord standing in Jerusalem. So here we have a clear delineation in this Psalm 122 that the house of the Lord is intrinsically linked with the city, the geographical location of Jerusalem. It says then, where within thy gates, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem you are built as a city that is compact together. Jerusalem you are built as a city that is compact together. It really is a compact city. It is faster to run from one side of the city just about than driving. The traffic in Jerusalem is horrendous. I had the privilege of running around the old city and running through Jerusalem. I would run at the crack of dawn on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sunday mornings with a whole team of friends of ours. We'd run all over the place, and we'd always finish with a cracking cup of coffee at the end of our run, and then get back and start our days. It was a wonderful time as the sun would rise, and we would go all over Jerusalem. And I remember especially running on one occasion through the actual old city to the Garden Tomb and being there for the Easter sunrise service. What a tremendous privilege that was, going back 2 decades now. So it goes on, where the tribes go up, even the tribes of the Lord, for an ordinance for Israel to give thanks to the name of the Lord. So Jerusalem has something that the nations are to give thanks for. These 12 tribes, it talks about specifically within Israel, but every Jewish home, every home that practices the Passover, which just happened last week, at the end of the Seder, the Passover Seder, the order, the final phrase is next year in Jerusalem. And every year, that's the hope and the desire of the Jewish people, is that they would be partaking of the Passover in Jerusalem. So we have this statement to give thanks to the name of the Lord. And then what's interesting is the next verse, for there are set thrones for judgment. So we have tied in here a concept that we don't often think about, that actually there is thanksgiving linked to judgment. Interesting, huh? I'll leave you to mull on that concept. And then comes, as a result, of the previous one, thrones for judgment, thrones of the house of David, pray for the peace. Now, that word in Hebrew, peace, is not absence of war or conflict. On the contrary, the word is shalom. It means fullness, wholeness, completeness. It's like the whole package, the whole picture being outworked. So if I want to extrapolate this for you, and give it a amplified version, if you like, what it is saying is pray for the full, complete, whole, eternal purpose of God to be outworked, which is centered in Jerusalem, the house of the Lord. Shall I say it again? So you pray for the fullness, the wholeness, the complete story of redemption, which is centered in Jerusalem. Hopefully that gives you a bit more of an understanding. And then it goes on, it says, they shall prosper that love you. So there is a condition here within the scripture that actually, if we have an understanding and are involved in praying for the peace of Jerusalem, praying for the eternal purpose of God to be fulfilled, praying for the whole shalom, fullness, wholeness, peace that could come for Jerusalem, there is a prosperity attached to it. Now, I'm not talking about a prosperity monetarily. I'm talking about prosperity in every area of life, talking about prosperity with being a joyful life being filled, being one that is knowing the writer of the book, if you like, the being prosperous in knowing the Messiah and what he's called us to. They shall prosper that love you. And then it goes on and it gives us a geographical instruction with it. Peace be within your walls and prosperity within your palaces. So we have the palaces is the place of authority. The walls are the place of security. So there is an incumbent responsibility on believers to be praying for the security of Jerusalem and by implication Israel, and of the authorities that run and head Jerusalem and by implication Israel as well. So we have a mandate, if you like, given to us in Psalm 122 to be involved in praying for those two areas. And then it goes on and says something fascinating in verse 8. For my brothers and companions' sake, I will now say peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. Okay, so we have brothers and companions, which we know from the New Testament is a reference to Gentiles who believe, brothers, and of course the Jewish understanding is, of course, it's talking about the Jewish people. But for the sake of our brothers, for my brothers and companions' sake, I will now say peace be within you. For the sake of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. Well, whose good is it talking about? It's talking about Israel's good. So for the sake of the house of the Lord our God, well, what is the house of the Lord our God? Well, we as Christians understand that in its unfolding in Ephesians and throughout Scripture to be the church. For the sake of the church, I will seek that's Israel's good. Now, could it be the church is in the condition it's in the nations because of the condition that we are not fulfilling the responsibility in the nations to be involved in praying for the peace of Jerusalem? I'm Stephen Briggs, and this is the Israel Matters Show. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you can be reminded when we drop new shorts and new podcasts for you to see. It's been great having you with us, and we're going to look forward to exploring another area of Israel Matters next time.